Thank you so much for joining us, Bobby. Truly a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So it's been a rough few weeks for you.
Rough, choppy waters for sure.
Yeah.
It's an interesting time to be out in the open seas.
Tell me, this whole experience, and especially the latter half of how your stint ended with JWT, what's your key learning from all of this?
Be a control freak about some of the things that you sign off on, right? The world is too sort of open and too unforgiving for you to be naive about certain things, and that's my lesson from that. The other thing is, I think we've got to sort of examine how far we push the envelope on certain things, right? We've got to examine this whole proactive agenda again, and there is pressure on all people to win.
Sure.
But I think we should. How far?
Right. How far? Yeah. That's well said. Well put. The next question would obviously come from that. Is now that you worked with such a large agency like JWT, right? You were recruited for a purpose, right? Because you had a proven stint with Mudra.
Yeah.
And you did turn around the fortunes of Mudra to, to quite a level. So when you were brought into JWT, that was what you were brought in was pretty known for the industry. What is the kind of pressure that JWT India faces, which is a large factory of sorts, to ensure that it ups its status in terms of being an award-winning agency?
See, I think let's take this argument back to its roots, right? I think today for any agency, right, to do well, it needs to have some kind of creative cachet, right? And a lot of the creative cachet comes from, it comes from some of the more popular work that you do, but also how the popular work and all of that, and the other work is validated by your own peers in a system that sort of recognizes some of the best work done in the year, right? And therefore, I think winning awards becomes, as it has become sort of more and more tied into how well you do business-wise, the pressure has grown, right? It's not just for JWT, it exists for pretty much a lot of agencies everywhere, right? Today, it's not just the individual agencies and in countries that want to do well, the networks want to do well, right? And therefore, the holding companies want to do well. It is a giant sort of contest. And all these people who are running organizations, and all these organizations which are winners, well, they are not going to participate in a contest to lose, are they?
How much pressure did Colvin put on you to ensure that, you deliver a lot of medals at the Creative Awards?
I mean, you can't quantify these things, right?
No, of course not.
And the thing is, I mean, both of us did want to win, right? We want to win in the arena of popular work, which we delivered on, right? Also, we want to win in the validation of the work as well. So, I mean, there was mutual pressure.
Of course,
yeah.
Of course. Given what happened, right, and this whole uploading of the Ford FIGO work onto an Ads of the World website with your name on it, I don't know if you're aware, but some Indian copywriter leaked it to BuzzFeed. So, what would you say to this? Would you say that at some level you can't help but wonder that you may have been a target of sorts?
I wasn't aware of this, and I don't know how to react to that, honestly. Well, I guess every person, right, has his own agenda.
But did you ever feel cornered in your entire stint, or did you ever feel that you were being targeted? Because JWT as an agency is known for not being able to retain its top creative talent. We've seen some of the best industry minds work there and bite the bullet exactly 12 months, 15 months into the job. So did you by any chance feel that you were being targeted?
No. No, I've never felt that, to be perfectly honest, right? I came here with a single-minded agenda to do brave new kinds of work, and that's what I was obsessed about. Okay, I was obsessed about my clients. I was obsessed about the people that we worked with, right, and then get them to raise their game. If it was so, and if it was that drastic, I don't think we would have had some the successes that we did on the work, right? That fast. I don't think anybody saw it. Like you were saying, last year at Goa Fest we were 16 medals and number 8. This year 48 medals and number 3. And if you see, if you go down the tally, a lot of our medals came from film, integrated, branded content and all that, and big brands and big things. And that wouldn't have happened if, let's say most of the organization was working against me. That wouldn't have happened, no? Because I know I'm pretty damn good, but I'm not as good as that. All of that.
Do you think you felt at some level quite betrayed because you would have expected more support from your peers at senior levels in your organization?
Let me be. What I heard, yes. Okay, incredibly. But I think from the time it blew up to from the time, let's say, Germany, I part of the company, it is like maybe 3-4 days. I didn't know what the hell was going on because I wasn't really talking to anybody, and somebody had to step up, and it's kind of like this. When a train accident happens, it's not like the railway minister has, but you gotta step up, man up, and take the responsibility for the things that happen under your watch.
Are you telling me that you were given, that you volunteered to say that I will take this upon my head?
It was both ways. Yeah, it was both ways.
Do you think, don't you think, since there was a conversation and this was both ways and you decided to be the sacrificial lamb of some sort, why isn't it that the business head did not do the same? That's unfair, right?
That's a question not for me.
No, but what's your point of view? Because you've been through this. That man's job is safe. Don't you think the responsibility should have been shared equally?
Okay, look, at the end of the day, I think, this is my feeling on it, is that if creative people carry the can for everything, then what? Maybe creative people should have the power to control everything.
Do you think that's the way it should be going?
No, I think great partnerships where there's complete trust and there's complete accountability for each other is the way to go. Because you know what one person does, I think the single man leaderships are kind of overrated, right? I think it's great teams that win. Okay, and that's been borne out time and time again, right? It is Doyle in Burnbach, and that's why he said, we are so close that there not even a comma will separate us. It was BBH, and great shops are kind of like that. It's Droga 5, but there is a conglomerate of geniuses that runs Droga 5. Think when complemented by the right people, including the right talents, there's nothing that you cannot achieve.
Do you think JWT has that problem in retaining creative talent now that you've been an insider? Why is it that we see a change in a creative face almost every year? Every year.
I don't know, maybe they're jinxed. I'm a superstitious guy, so I probably say something like that, right? But I don't know. I don't know. You know what? Sometimes organizations need to change, right? And they need something.
Now what does JWT need to change about itself?
It has a very simple answer, but yeah, one I can whisper in your ear, not to the camera, right?
Do you think JWT India needs to have a creative as the head of that agency?
With not necessarily a creative leader, but I think they need to be creatively led in spirit, not just in words.
Could you explain that?
Yeah. Is that you have to embrace the fact that clients here are here for the solutions. They're not here for the relationships. They're not here for anything else. The world has changed around us, okay? And therefore, I think the calls that you need in terms of leading your organization, the culture that you built, needs to be centered around what is great for the solutions, and not great for, let's say, building a great sort of traditional agency. And I think sometimes what stops JWT, right, is they remember what made them successful, right, and the world's changed around you.
Would you have respected JWT as an organization more if, when this entire thing blew out of proportion, Colvin had also offered to step down along with you?
You know the answer to that as well as I do.
Would you ever, in the long term, when all this is dusted and forgotten, because this industry has a very short memory, would you ever work with WPP again?
Yeah, I guess so.
Really?
I don't, you know what, the thing is, I've had such a checkered life. I've learned never to say never. I don't know, you see, here, how do you damn any organization or any one person based on one incident? I cannot take this and say that, hey, WPP is a bad person for doing this. I don't even know if WPP did it. I don't know who, whatever. And I'm sure they had their motivations. At the end of the day, Ford is a huge piece of business. And the organization's first priority is to save their revenues. I mean, I understand that. If you are a leader in a business, if you don't understand that, you're just being stupid. Alright? So, I can't say, hey, these bad folks.
Why was your name on the copy that was uploaded on Ads of the World?
Apparently, that's the form that you have to fill out. So I've never uploaded in any of this thing. So I wouldn't really know. So that's why in this thing.
So you're saying that for every piece of work, because you were the chief creative officer, by default your name is there?
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's how it works.
Okay. Do you think that practice is a good practice?
It's not. It is not. You shouldn't give credit to people who weren't involved in things. Piyush says that all the damn time. Right? A lot of times his name comes up even though he wasn't involved, because he's the chief creative officer for the region. So yeah, I think so.
Do you think anybody will now have the guts to work with JWT India?
Unless they're willing to pay humongous consultancy fees, I ain't going to tell them the answer, right? But I don't know. You know what? I think it's still an attractive challenge for somebody who wants it.
You maintain that.
I'm foolish about certain things, and I mean, I've always said, you know what? The biggest, baddest mountains, I even want to climb them, even if they will be the death of me. So it's too late for me to change. This is who I am.
How would you juxtapose your experience with Mudra versus that of JWT? How different was both the assignments?
Oh damn! We'll be here for the year if I have to answer that question. I think at Mudra, it was also over a longer period of time, and there was an intense camaraderie between us, and we could freaking disagree like the blazes. I mean, sometimes the boardroom, the cuss words were so thick in the air, you could cut them with the freaking knife, right? But we were united in one purpose. So there's that. And a lot of people I worked with are still friends today, and we do care about each other. Right? Pratap's dear friend, Madhuka's become one, right? June, Sandy, all these, Ajit, Marin was in this thing. We're still in touch. So those friendships will never go. This was probably too short a stint, and maybe the coming down didn't quite come about.
Are you and Colvin dear friends?
No. See, is the reason I stopped smoking some 5 years back. So yeah, I owe him for that still.
If I had to ask you to take a look at the Ford FIGO ads, and as a person who's well known for his creativity, how would you objectively critique them?
The idea has been done before. That kind of thing's been done before. My first thing is like, a lot of time when you do things with like sort of celebrities and all that, it's so done that unless you've got a completely freaking different take on it, if you're doing it to win in the watchers, it ain't gonna win. Right? So that would be my take on it.
Would you say that it was a bad piece of work or bad judgment?
It was a bit of both, actually. Yeah. I think some with the craft of it and all that, a lot of things weren't quite there with it.
Were you given time to absorb what had happened and give your version of the story, or try to explain and justify yourself?
This thing happened so quick. I don't think anybody saw it happening this quick. Like you said, by Friday it blew up. But Tuesday the resolution had begun, right? So there was no time. There wouldn't have been. I think the one thing, I think hopefully, I hope some good comes out of this, because I think I've suffered, JWT suffered, and so has Ford, and hopefully for all the people watching, there's some good that comes out. Understand this one thing, that the internet works faster than the speed of light, right? So be careful about the things that you put up. Be very, very careful, because what may be a harmless joke to you may be incredibly offensive to somebody else sitting across halfway around the world, right? So, and especially when you're doing this on the behalf of brands and stuff like that, because what is good sort of social commentary by an individual may be seen as offensive commentary by a brand.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think all of us need to be a little more cognizant of that. In India, we aren't, because this is a relatively new phenomena to us, right? And I mean, as far as political correctness, well, that has to dawn on us a little bit more than it has yet.
Tell me, if you were the head of JWT, hypothetically, right? You were the top cat at JWT India, and this happened to you.
Yeah.
What would you have done? What would have been your steps of action?
My first guru in advertising was Piyush Pandey. Yeah. After that, Neil French, even Ranjan. There's Steve Hayden, Rick Boyko, all these boys, Bill Gray, Shelley. They've been my gurus through all of this. Who I am today is by observing them, and the one thing I've learned from them is must always take it in the chin, man. Take it on the chin. And that's my way of leading. Is, dude, if anything happens, take it on the damn chin.
So that's your response if you were hypothetically the boss of JWT, right? The next time your next assignment, what are the few things that you're going to look into before you join a company?
I think there's got to be with the people out there. Is there a partnership of souls?
So didn't you do that evaluation when you were trying to join JWT, if there was a partnership of souls?
Well, I need to do it deeper.
Bobby, can you name me a few names in the Indian advertising fraternity from the creative side who can break the jinx for JWT India, take on Colvin, and actually have a successful innings in running that agency?
Start with my old guru and the godfather of Indian advertising, Piyush Pandey. If anybody can do it, he can do it, right? There's Balki, there's Prasoon, Sonar, Kino.
What next for you, Bobby?
I don't know. I'm just like sort of enjoying my freedom, as it were. It's been maybe about a week, 10 days maybe. I was in Kashmir for about a week. Came back. I was in Goa, enjoying the resurgence of JWT at the world shows. Catching up with the guys, catching up with some of the clients, and so celebrating that. And now I just like sort of settle into some happy domesticity, run some errands, watch my kid try to walk. He's 8 months old, and help my daughter with her homework, which I've never done, I gotta admit, and then figure out what to do.
I think it's been a roller coaster ride for you, Bobby, but I wish you all the very best, and thank you so much for joining us, giving us time and speaking your mind. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.